Welcome to the Real Estate Freedom Podcast, where we talk about all things real estate and how you can get freedom through real estate investing. Today, we have a special guest, Mr. Davis. He's going to talk about his real estate journey and everything he does with real estate. So, introduce yourself.
Perreton Davis with Davis Property Preservation, and I actually just started up another LLC, which would be Davis Development and Investments, and it's pretty much the realtor side.
Okay. So, tell me the difference between your two companies.
Okay, you have Davis Property Preservation. I mean, it's pretty much in the title. You know, I preserve properties, more or less pretty much what everyone may need done as far as homeowners, commercial, residential. I pretty much go in and I can pretty much get it done. Now, with Davis Development and Investments, once again, it's pretty much in the title. You know, that's my segment where I invest. I have my own properties where I go in, renovate them, get them ready, and pretty much, I mean, I'm still kind of going. That's why I really can't just give you a detailed explanation because I'm kind of taking it day by day. I have a plan, and I'm executing it.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, watching you on social media, because I watch everybody in this area, especially when it comes to real estate, because I am just a big real estate geek.
Yes,
Anything
ma'am.
Real estate, I love it.
Yes, ma'am.
And so just watching your progression has been awesome.
Thank you.
So how many properties do you have today?
We kind of actually joke about that all the time because, like, normally when people ask, I'm so focused to why I really just don't keep track. Like, it's not me trying to be evasive or anything like that. I literally don't keep up with it.
Right.
But, I mean, like I say, I know for sure, like, last year, I probably closed on, like, four or five properties.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
And how long have you been investing?
I mean, to be totally honest with you, I always have been investing, but with real estate, it's probably been about 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe 3.
Okay. Yeah. 2.5 years, maybe 3. And
yes, ma'am.
What's impressive about your story and journey is how you acquire the properties. Like, you just acquire them for a very low amount.
Yes, ma'am.
On average, like, what's the amount?
If we would have to say average, just kind of going halfway, probably like $2,500.
$2,500.
Yes, ma'am.
And on average, what's the after repair value for most of them?
The one that I actually just, because, I mean, I kind of talking prior to this, I really didn't know much about that. Like, I was literally investing and had no knowledge of the game.
Right.
But the property that I'm actually probably finna start trying to, do funding and get my own money, the ARV was around, I want to say 70, almost 80.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're getting it for, on an average, $2,500.
$2,500.
And the ARV after repair value is about $80,000.
I know, and it's still kind of mind blowing to me. I'm still kind of trying to come to terms with it. Like, man, I literally can invest $2,500 to maybe $5,000, and I can turn around and almost double or triple it. Well, not almost. You exceed that. Like,
it's infinity. Like, it's just like, the numbers are just so unreal.
Yes, ma'am.
That it's just like so unreal. That's why it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
And not only that, you got the work in the middle. So
yes, ma'am. Yeah. It's kind of like I got a cheat code.
Yes, you got the cheat code. Like, I can't nail nothing. I can't paint nothing. I can't put down
you wear all these other hats. Go on ahead and get you a hard hat.
I don't want no hard hat. I just want somebody else to do it.
Right.
I don't got time to be doing none of that. But you got the cheat code. You get them for low. You can work on them yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you could take advantage of the after repair value.
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't even realize it. You
No,
just
ma'am.
out here working.
Had no clue. I'm just out here working. And I'm like you mentioned in the beginning, I'm acquiring properties and really had no clue or plan what to do with them. But, like, as I continue to work and build relationships and I'm talking to investors, that's another thing I kind of love about real estate. Most investors, they are very welcoming. I'm talking about with open arms. They're going to give you, it's like, as far as information goes,
Right.
they are more than willing to give it to you. So, like I say, and like you mentioned, initially when I heard it and people are explaining it to me, it can't be that easy. It's something that they leaving out. It's something that they not telling me, or they just want to make it sound good.
Right.
But I mean, like I say, as I'm learning and I'm starting to actually kind of try to execute it, it's really that easy.
It is.
It's really that easy.
It is, and I remember the first time because I bought my first one for $4,500, and I ended up selling it for $88,000. And I remember.
And you're not talking about 100, right?
No, like $4,500.
Exactly. And you sold it for what?
$88,000.
Hey, can we get that? Can we get that bomb?
I was like $88,000.
Yeah, I was really just kidding.
No, it was like $88,000.
Yeah.
And so when I got that first check, I was like, so y'all trying to tell me y'all just gonna give me this check?
Y'all playing with me, right? Like you go to looking around.
I know, like are y'all gonna
somebody gonna try to come
and take this away from me or take me away?
Yeah.
It was just that easy.
Yes, ma'am.
And so just to watch you, because I was like, man, I wonder if he knows
what he actually building.
Yeah.
And I didn't at first. I'm not gonna just make it like I had it all figured out. I knew exactly what I was doing. That wasn't the case.
Wow.
Yeah, I had no clue.
So what made you want to get into real estate investing?
Once again, that wasn't the plan. You know, I was literally a trucker. Like I was just like I'm starting to become about real estate. Well, not become. I am now. Like I'm pretty much entrenched in it. Like this is my livelihood. Like I wake up thinking about keys and which property I'm going to. But I literally started out trucking. Yeah. And it was a wet site. Literally just on the road. You don't really have nothing but time. You can waste time or you can use it. So I decided to use it. I found a site, an app called auction.com. And I'm just scrolling on it, browsing. I think they require like a deposit or something in order to even just bid. I won my first home for like $3,200.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I mean, ever since then, I was like, well, hey, if I can get a property for this amount, because, you know, people tend to make you think like you got to have at least $50,000 probably just on the low end. Like you don't even think about buying a property unless you almost got $100,000 saved up, and that's not the case. So, like I say, it was almost like a light bulb when I was like, man, if I can just continue to obtain properties around this price, I mean, yeah. And I had no clue about an ARV.
Right.
I didn't even know that you had hard money lenders who would literally loan you, will fund the whole project. I had no clue about none of that. So I just literally said, I mean, with the money that we tend to kind of, you know, just go through on a daily with hobbies or whatever it is that you like.
Right.
Man, I much rather $3,500, $3,200 or whatever the price might. Yeah, give me a property. I'll take it all day long now.
Man, I'm just trying to see how do you manifest these properties at this low amount, like at this criteria? How can you fit in this criteria? I mean, with me, it goes back to what I was saying. I mean, initially when I got my first house, I was like you. I mean, I'm mechanically inclined. I always been good with my hands, so I'm pretty sure I can go in and nail something, maybe paint something. But I had no knowledge as far as repairing homes, remodeling, anything. So basically, to answer your question as far as how I get them at the price point that I do, typically, you know, with wholesalers, realtors, and anybody, I mean, the main thing that they try to do is meet your needs. They want to know what you're interested in. Is it a certain area, certain condition, certain price range? Right. And I literally tell them most of the time, like, I'm looking for whatever you probably can't get rid of. That's what I want. I want the worst of the worst, something that you probably think would be impossible to sell. Bring it to me, and I promise you I want it. You know what I mean? Wow.
It can be falling apart. I want it.
Yeah, because a lot of us, because we don't know what to do with it.
They'll look at it and be like, it will take me.
Too much.
Yeah.
Because I don't know nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
Okay, so you get those throwaway properties, and I don't want to call them throwaway because they still great properties. You just don't know what to do.
When I get them, they throw away. It's something that people will literally ride by and don't even look twice. Right. Yeah. And then once they see me over there and my crew out there and we tearing up stuff and hauling stuff off, and they starting to realize, hey, that's starting to look like something. That's when everybody in the community probably starts stopping by, and now they want to introduce themselves. And we stay right up the block. We've been there all our life, and you know, so.
And it just helps out. It helps out that area.
Yes, ma'am.
So, a couple of years ago, you said you learned how to do properties. So, because you were trucking before. So, how did you learn how to do properties? Like fix up properties.
I was kind of forced. Like, I'm one of those people, like, I'm not going to continuously ask you to do something or try to do something. Like, I just pretty much kind of get in where I fit in, so to speak. So
Okay.
I had a situation with a contractor. Didn't work out. Came in, and I wasn't naive. I mean, as far as like doing business overall, but I wasn't really aware. And it's not the shade or,
Right.
most contractors. I mean, and what's crazy is even to this day, and I'm going to get back to that, but even to this day, most of the time when I meet homeowners who are looking to get repairs done, they going to always have a story.
Yeah.
As far as, I had a guy came through, he told me he can do everything for $15,000. He wanted $7,500 down. I gave him the 75 and never saw him again.
Right.
So I mean, and I didn't experience that. So I kind of noticed, like, once again, that was the light bulb. I kind of looked at it like, well, hey, this may be a lane that may be wide open that, I mean, is not really tapped into, and nobody is utilizing it the way that I feel like it should be utilized.
Right.
But to answer your question again, pretty much ran off. I had a scope of work, what I wanted done. For the most part, didn't work out with the first guy. Tried another one. Didn't work out. Hey, we not finna continue to do that. I see a pattern here. We not finna keep doing it. So guess what? On the weekends when I'm not trucking, well, no, I take that back. When I got my first driver for my trucking company, I had time to start. I'm literally doing nothing. I was almost like a stay-at-home dad. I was literally dropping my kids off at school, and I was sitting around waiting on them to get out of school so I can go and get them. So,
Right.
during the time while they were at school, that's when I started. I went to YouTube University. Basically, yeah. Started, and I accumulated tools as I got to certain jobs, and before you know it, somebody else wanted to know, hey, can you come by and check out? Yeah, sure, I'll come by, check it out, do the job. They done went to church and told sister,
Yeah. And that's how it went.
That's how it went.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And now I be looking for a break. I hope I can just have time where I don't have nothing to do,
But it's just full steam ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but that's not a bad thing.
No, not at all.
It's not a bad
Not
thing.
at all.
Because like you say, you saw the gap in the community because, man, let me tell you.
Everybody.
Dealing with contractors.
I learned if you own a property, you don't even have to be an investor.
Yeah.
If you own a property and you tried to do some repairs, you going to have a story about a contractor.
So many stories.
Yeah. Who ran off on the plug.
Man, just ran off like we don't stay in the same city.
Right,
like
right.
this city
Like I won't bump into
that,
you.
Right, it's not that big. Like you cannot leave without giving me my money. But at least you got into that lane. So that's just interesting. Every time you see a gap, you just feel it. It's basically what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, more or less, it's kind of crazy because I never really just go into a situation saying, like, I mean, nobody really knows how something is going to turn out. Mm-hmm. Like, when you say, how do I manifest the I mean, I really never did. I just really feel like it was for me.
Right.
And once I actually saw and noticed it, I saw the opportunity, and I took advantage of it. Kind of the same way with the trucks, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, it probably don't have time.
Nah, we don't.
Yeah,
we
for
don't
that. Yeah, not time for that one today. Right. But okay, so now with the properties that you have, and you're learning more about them, learning how to pull money out of them and everything, what's your plan, or I guess target now as far as investing goes? The more you learn. You
mean as far as units or just my overall goal?
Just overall goal.
Well, honestly, my overall goal, I mean, my personal goal is really just about stability for my kids. Mm-hmm. That's really it. Nothing outside of that. Now, I can mention the perks that come with it, like as far as me actually getting properties, in urban areas or what we call the hood.
Right.
And I'm literally, like, I'm not cutting in the corners. You know how a lot of time most people feel as though the area dictate how I'm going to rehab this property. That's not the case with me. Like, I'm going to rehab a property on the Cooper Road like I would in Highland.
Right.
Or Broadmoor, So at the same time, I'm actually still doing a very good thing as far as,
right.
bringing back.
Building up the community.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, how can you be cost effective then?
Because, I mean,
I know.
I'm doing the work.
So you're doing the work, but I'm talking about as far as materials go.
Typically, I buy in bulk. They tend, and I learned this about hardware stores. I'm not sure if most people don't know. Typically, at the end or beginning of almost every month, they gonna have items that they just literally almost trying to give away, or it may be return items. So I literally buy material with no idea what I'm gonna do with it, and it always come a time to where we riding around, or I may purchased a property, or I may have went and looked at a property, and I know, well, hey, I'm gonna have to do flooring here.
Right.
Bathrooms and kitchens, people pretty much already know you don't really cut no corners with those.
Right.
But I mean, for the most part, like I say, I literally buy things, and I'm not sure when I will need it, but I know I will need it. So that's kind of typically when I get a property, I'll probably already have everything I need. It's just gonna be me finding the time to get to it.
So are you expanding your crew to find the time?
I am. I mean, I have crews, and honestly, I'm kind of trying to get away from, and I really kind of hate to say that because I know what people deal with the contractors who kind of, but with me, I feel like I kind of have to make a choice. Either I focus more on my own and kind of build up my brand,
right,
or I can continue to kind of try to help other people. But for the most part, I really kind of would like to just develop and build my brand.
Right. So, oh, that sucks.
Nah, not really.
I mean, not sucks for you, but sucks for the general population where you can't find a contractor
It
that
kind of
will.
do. It kind of do. But the thing
up.
is, I have actually, networked and met quite a few people.
Right.
I mean, as far as pricing and all that, I don't have anything to do with it. But I can recommend people who to go to, outside of me, because I may not be available. And one thing that I did say I would always do, because I literally feel like those people help me get to where I'm at. Like the one, if it's a repeat customer or someone that I've always dealt with, or maybe even if they recommend someone,
right,
or I actually have a pretty, decent list of investors that I kind of dealt with. So if they hit me up and tell me, I probably can kind of put on pause what I have going on, and I can get back to what I'm doing once I, tighten them up, because we kind of build a relationship.
Right.
Yeah. So I wouldn't leave them high and dry like, oh, no, you got to go find you somebody else. Like, nah.
That makes sense. Well, let me back up for a second because I got so many questions. So go back to YouTube University, how you learn. Like, what is your learning style to learn stuff this fast? Because that's kind of fast.
It actually kind of worked out perfect for me because I'm one of those visual people. Like, pretty much, I probably can get in and figure it out myself, but it'll be a whole lot quicker if I actually saw them do it. I might not even do it exactly how they did it, but it's just actually me seeing it done. Okay. And then I can literally probably just watch it once or twice, and that'll be it.
Okay, so that's not typical. So just so you saying once or twice?
Yeah.
You can look at a video once or twice.
Yes, ma'am.
And then just jump out.
Yeah. Or even on the job, like as I started kind of hiring guys, and they actually came in with skills that I didn't quite have yet. All I had to do is just really see it done once or twice, and that's pretty much it. Like the third time I have a job that's pertaining to that individual skill, you step back for a second and,
Okay. Well, this interview is probably going to be a lot shorter because I thought you were going to give me like a real good, like, I spent hours listening to YouTube.
I mean, I did, but for the most part, I pretty much had it. One thing I will say, I had the basics from the beginning, but okay, I can go back to my very first property. And I can go to my most recent property that I finished, my own personal property. Okay. And I can see the difference in, like, okay, like it's almost kind of like a learning experience. Like, even if I did learn it in the very beginning, like I may watch you hang a picture. When I come and hang a picture, it may be a little crooked, but I know how to hang that picture. So the next time I hang one,
you just keep learning.
I'm perfecting. Yes, ma'am.
And learning from doing. Ma'am. Learning from doing.
Yes, ma'am. She said it's gonna be
because it's a lot shorter. Because I'm looking for the punchline, the passion, like it's just real, like simple.
Yes, man. And I'm not trying to downplay it or like and that may not be the case for everybody, but
it's not.
Yeah, for me, it's pretty. I mean, we can take the whole story as a whole. Like, how many people do you actually know? Okay, like I said, I was in trucking. Doing pretty decent, no complaints. My fleet was growing. I had got up to 3 trucks. And I kind of just found real estate, and it kind of had me kind of leaning that way more.
Right.
I took more interest in it. I kind of started noticing, like, the hassle that come with trucks. I really didn't too much want to. I pretty much proved it, but I was like, I kind of like this real estate a little bit more. So, I mean, most people can't just make that transition and actually be successful at it.
No, they can't. And
I'm aware of that. And I mean, that's really kind of another reason why I make sure I remain humble, modest, and all that, because I feel like I don't know. I don't want to get spiritual and all that, but yeah,
we're about to get there.
Yeah, I most definitely feel like that kind of plays a big part in it. It was just, it was just meant. Like I don't think it was coincidence at all.
Right. Yeah. Because it's gonna go there either way. So, because I coach people with real estate investing, I coach people with real estate everything, and the biggest barrier people have is just confidence in themselves. That's it. It's like it's very hard for them to just jump out and just do it.
Gotcha.
And so for you to be like, oh, I just went on ahead and did it.
And see,
or
I'm kind of glad we are going there, because I always been a firm believer. Life is not as difficult as people make it. It's more or less like I read a quote somewhere, one time, and it was like, there's no success without sacrifice. I feel like for the most part, man, and most times when you are trying to do things that you're not accustomed to, it's probably going to require you to remove some things that you are accustomed. It may be some things that you probably thought you couldn't do without. You know what I mean? So, and I said that to say, like, when I say that life isn't that difficult, in most situations, you already know what you need to do. You just can't bring yourself to do it. Yeah. So, that's what kind of, that's why everything seems so simple to me, because I guess when it comes to that focus or that discipline or whatever, somebody may kind of attribute it to, I have no problem when it comes to that. If I get to a crossroad, I'm just going to go to one side, because I do have the confidence in myself that whatever I do encounter on that journey, I'm going to figure it out. So, right. A lot of times with most people, the biggest thing is them just being in their own way. That's why I know, and I say this all the time, it's a lot of people right now with $1 million ideas, and they'll never see $1 million.
Right.
Just because they won't start. You know what I mean?
I wasn't ready for that either.
Yeah, I like that. He on it. Yeah, y'all heard that ding, right? But yeah, I'm serious.
Yeah. I mean, and that makes sense. It makes sense, but it's just it's difficult for people. Yeah. It's so hard for them to just jump out.
I'm well aware of that. And I never try to become one of those people like where I'm just being hard on someone. Like, no, I don't. To be totally honest with you, you can't come around me too many times and, you always have a problem, but you don't ever have a solution. Right. Now, I can understand you come around a few times like, man, I just can't quite figure this out. I'm trying to, well, what all have you tried? Like I'm one of those people. Instead of me, man, well, you gonna get it one day or nah, come on, let's figure this out. I'm one of those people. Like, hey, well, what all you tried? Well, you ever thought about this? But if you continue to come around me and all you have
is problems and no solutions.
No solutions. Like even if you got a new problem, let's talk about how you solved the last one first. Well, yeah, man, I did this. Oh, okay. So what the new one is? Like I'm seeing, the growth. Right. You making progress. But if you still got that same, come on now.
Exactly.
Come on.
No, I'm with it. Listen, I don't like excuses either.
Right.
And even with coaching, I had to kind of get back from coaching because listening to people with excuses and being constantly afraid.
Right.
It bothers me because I know that life is so short.
Right.
And so it's like every day you waste not doing something. So my mantra is done is better than perfect.
I promise.
Because it ain't going to be perfect.
I promise.
It's
done.
But it's done,
it's done.
But it ain't going to be perfect.
Right.
So it's just amazing to me to see people like you that just go for it and just be like, look, I'm going to figure it out when I get there. So have you always been that way? Like,
yes, ma'am.
Even as a child?
Always.
Oh, man. What was your mom like? Or was she like, please sit down?
No,
Don't jump off the cliff. Don't do it.
It was more or less my grandma.
Okay.
Like it was pretty much her. And that really wasn't her testimony. It was just something in me. Like more or less with me, almost everything around me, I didn't come from, I didn't have a silver spoon, as most people say. But for the most part, like, I was always one of those ones. Like I say, like, to me, life always have been pretty simple. I'm pretty much, how a lot of people, it's almost like they embrace, like, I'm a product of my environment. Like, for the most part with me, I kind of took all of those things and looked at those as to, like, what I'm not going to do. If that kind of makes sense. So what direction I am going to have. Okay, I see everybody going this route, and I see what it's getting them. Why would I go? Unless I want what they got. Exactly. Why would I go there?
Right.
So I kind of, I'm the one who took the lemon. I take the lemons and make lemonade. Like I ain't no, I can't do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So with the investments you have right now, the companies you have, because you still got your trucking?
Yes, ma'am.
You still got your trucking. You got property preservations. You have your investments.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
Ripping and running with them kids on vacations. Yeah, like in 5 years, I if all goes well and it kind of go according to plan, I will have enough passive income to where I pretty much can do what I want, and I'm gonna just pay myself to manage my own assets.
Okay. And what is it that you want? You say you can do what you want.
Travel, most definitely. I mean, experience different cultures, see different things, because I'm well aware that it's more to life than just Shreveport. Yeah. And I definitely want my kids to be that way. Like, pretty much when they go somewhere, they don't kind of feel awkward or they're not in the know. I don't never want them to be in a room where people are having conversations and, you really don't have any knowledge. Like, right. At least if you kind of, know a little something, you can get the rest of what you need. But, yeah, I mean, I feel like my main job, and this is just with the kids, like you asking, what do I want? I basically want to raise my kids up to have a life that I work hard for because I never had it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No,
y'all probably should have told me to cut these off before I came.
That's okay. You got like 3, 4, 5 companies. I get it.
Yeah, and they know the phones don't stop. They've been over here chiming and dinging since we've been in here.
That is okay. That's the life of a business owner. That is.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I mean, you pretty much summed it up for us. Like, this is probably one of the most inspirational podcasts we've had for sure. Like, you were such an inspiration, and you were just like, we just love watching you. So please continue to share everything that you are sharing on social media. Yes.
And I don't know if you noticed that neither, but I am very transparent. Like, yes. I kind of try to show, and it's more or less with me, because, like, I know it's a lot of guys out there that probably come from what I came from. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and I know we can go back to the solutions or the like, do you want sympathy or do you want solutions? Right. You have a lot of people who just it's kind of like a mindset thing. Like, I feel like once you change the way you think, that's going to kind of change your way of living. You have a lot of people, and I was guilty of this. Like, I was incarcerated. We didn't touch on it in the interview. Like, once you come home, all you hear people say is, well, hey, I got a record now. I got a bag. I'm a convicted felon, man. I ain't going to, like, no, stop that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that go for anybody. Stop that. And I feel like I'm qualified to speak on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you literally have to stop that. You got to get out there and.
How can they stop it though?
Stop saying it. It's just that, like I told you, life is not.
You say it's just that simple.
Life is not that hard. You just got to stop that. Get out your way.
Right.
Don't say what somebody, man. And what's crazy is a lot of people don't know. It ain't even about the tongue some of the times. Like, even it leads with the tongue. You saying this and you didn't start believing it. So you may go into an interview and you not even yourself. Like, they don't even get a chance to actually see you because you done already came in here with it on your mind. Like, I don't even stand a chance. Mm-hmm. I'm a convicted felon. They don't want nothing. Like, you almost like you tarnished goods or something. And to be totally honest with you, anybody who have been incarcerated know that the penitentiary probably have some of the most talented people in every aspect of life that it is. But, I mean, you just come out here and you kind of just, it's like you agreeing with the stereotype that they put on you.
Right.
And like I say, you'll go into an interview and you really don't have a job. It had nothing to do with your background. It was just your demeanor or your delivery or how you conduct yourself during that interview.
Right.
Like, that's how they stopped it. Like, just get out of that mindset.
But what about feeding yourself? Because I know you could tell people they could just stop that, mm-hmm. but it's also about what you feed yourself. So what do you feed yourself mentally?
Me personally, it's more or less reading. That's like why I said, once you change the way you think, that plays a big part in it. And a lot of the times when it come down to feeding, some people may not read. Some people probably can't read. Mm-hmm. A lot of the time it's just all about who you surround yourself with.
Right.
That's part of the feeding, because it's what you taking in. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the people that you're around. If all of they sitting up talking about something that's non-productive, has nothing to do with nothing. And then another thing I also learned, typically unfocused people will make you lose focus. So if you hanging around a lot of people, they don't really know what they want to do, what they gonna do, if they want to do anything. but you have this goal in mind and you not gonna stop at nothing to reach it, how do you think that person fit into that plan?
They don't.
So what would you have to do? This goes back to people know what they need to do. This might be your day one partner. And I ain't saying you got to remove them. They just have to understand, like, I'm on this journey right now, and if you ain't really just doing anything to contribute to this, I can get back with you once I accomplish what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying?
Let me look at the time because I don't know.
Go ahead.
I don't know we got time for it. But so you're saying that, and I hear what you're saying, and I absolutely agree. And what about those people who come home and their family, the place where they lay their head is the place that they don't need to be?
That's my testimony.
So how you got around it?
I mean, I can answer that question, but let me ask you this.
Okay.
Based on everything I just laid out in front of you and told you, what do you feel like I had to do?
You had to leave.
Nah, and actually in that situation I didn't. I mean, it was the only place I could go at the time. You know, when you parole or you come home from prison, you know, you basically still incarcerated, to be honest with you. So they still gonna keep track of you. They want to know where you going, what you doing, if you working, who you working for. I might want to stop by your job. I mean, in a situation like that, if you are truly focused and you really know that you want something, I feel like ain't nothing really gonna stop that. So I mean, I knew that when I came home, that's where I had to be until I could change, you know, where I was at, and that's what I did. I mean, if you focus, so I did what I had to do until I could go somewhere else.
But you stayed focused mentally.
Yes, ma'am.
And so with you staying focused mentally, because you knew that this was a temporary place and you knew this was not the best environment for you, how did you continue to keep that room in your mind focused? Because that's the problem for a lot of people. I
mean, with me, typically people kind of look at it as institutionalized, but I really feel like that only applies to when you really kind of get lost in that environment. Okay, with me, I pretty much built up a routine, you know, and it's kind of like it goes back to discipline. You know, if I can do this and maintain this here, I can maintain this anywhere. So when I pretty much came home, I kind of stayed with the same regimen that I had when I was incarcerated.
Right.
And I mean, to this day, I really still kind of do carry some of those principles with me. So, I mean, that's what kind of keeps me from getting sidetracked or veering off of my path. And I know that's not everybody's testimony, but I feel like if it's something, like a lot of people tend to ask me what's my motivation. It's my kids. And, like, that's something that answer is never going to change. Right. And when I say it, I probably say it with every fiber in me. Like, I literally want better for my kids. Right. So, I mean, any situation that I run into or any kind of little, you know, you going to get tested. And, I mean, if what I'm saying holds true, I'm going to stick to that. Right. That's, like, unwavering. Like, if I ain't have no other reason to do or not to do the things that I feel like I should or shouldn't do, that's it right there.
So you had a big why. Your big why is your kids.
My kid.
And so your big why kept you focused no matter what.
Yes, ma'am.
And see, I think a lot of people don't know what their big why is, or they don't have a why. So when they don't have a why, and they
kind of, it's like blind leading the blind.
Right. You just floating and drifting.
You going with the flow.
Right.
Whatever sound good at the moment. And that's another reason, too, why I feel like most people never tend to gain traction with anything. I don't care what you're doing. It's going to be times where you're going to get tested. And that's I can't really just say in what way, because it's always different ways. And it always seemed like it would be in a way where it's like you're the most vulnerable. You know what I mean? That's where you're going to get tested. And I mean, really and truly, if you have a why, in most cases, you're not going to waver from that, because it's certain things with most people in their lives, it's things that they know for certain. I don't care what kind of incentive you try to offer or what kind of perks come with it. If I don't believe in that, or this what I believe, it's just like saying stand for nothing to fall for anything. If you don't, that's your why. Whatever you stand for, that's going to be your why. Right. If you really stand for that, you're not going to do nothing until you get there. You ain't changing that up. Like, even if you have to revise a few things, like you thought you was gonna get there in 6 months, it might have took you 6 years. But if your why is serious, it's gonna take you 6 years. Right. Oh well, I got here though. Exactly. Like you say, it don't gotta be perfect. It got done though.
Exactly. So done and not perfect. Man, you were just so You are an anomaly. You
Man,
are
I
not.
came in here nervous. I didn't know how this was gonna go.
It doesn't seem like you're nervous. It seemed like you're preaching over here. It really does. And so, but this has been very inspiring. I would love to know like practical stuff, because I know we throwing a lot of terms out there like your big why, your focus,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
I like practical steps. Like those things help me and help me to help others.
Exactly.
Like, what did you read? What did you not listen to? What do you eat? What don't you eat? Like, what are the practical things, or when it comes to mind, what are the biggest things that were practical that helped you?
I'd say the most thing probably was most definitely reading. Like you say, what did I read? Dick Gregory was big on him.
Oh yeah.
Big on him. He pretty unorthodox and he's very blunt. But I mean, I feel like that's one of the biggest reasons why I gravitated towards him, because that's my personality, so to speak. Sidney Poitier, pretty poised. Like know how to keep his composure. Really don't matter what. His upbringing, pretty intriguing. Malcolm X, I mean, I can go on and on. But I mean, really with me, it's more or less like I'm still me. So I kind of take, the traits or the personalities that I can relate to in each individual. And, just kind of, that's kind of what I gravitated towards that person. Right. Like, not them as a whole, just certain things. Excuse me. But, I mean, for the most part, that's pretty much it. I don't think what I eat got a whole lot to do with,
Oh, it does.
Yeah, I mean, the journey, like my why. Like, as to why I became vegan, like, it was really just like a self-discipline journey.
Right.
And I kind of wanted to test, myself. And I mean, that kind of coincides with the flesh, like, because it's a lot of people who want to eat healthy or eat clean. And the very first thing they'll say is, well, I can't because I love my cheese, or I got to have, like, well, damn, if you can't just kind of, and you don't have to be vegan to accomplish this, but it's just kind of like setting boundaries and see if you can actually stand on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got to be vegan all your life. It can be a detox or something, a juice. I'm going to go 30 days without no sugar. It's just a test.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, I ain't just going to get on here and be
I
preaching
ain't
to folks
about,
like, y'all got to stop eating that swine.
No, I'm not talking about like veganism, but it's the controlling of your flesh.
Most definitely.
And controlling of your mind.
Most definitely.
And so people need, first of all, in our community, people need permission to do it, because it's okay for you to be like, hey, I'm from prison and I'm from the hood.
Okay.
And it's okay for you to not
be
in that environment.
And see, when you say permission, I say this a whole lot. I feel like a lot of the things with our community, nobody else's, a lot of the things that's taboo, I never understood it because it's things that's probably helpful.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, most of the things that I can't believe she did this or he did that. Why he acting funny? Like, nah, he on a journey. Like, he got some, you know what I'm saying? Why, instead of just taking that route, encourage him. Exactly. Hey, I don't really know what you've been up to, man, but I hope all is well, and whatever you seeking out to do, I hope it work out for you.
Right.
Whether it's good or bad, because who am I to judge?
Exactly.
You might want to go out there and do something. You might want to be on World's Dumbest Criminals. I hope you execute that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Whatever you want to do.
Whatever it is you want to do. I mean, and I said this before. I was in a city, I want to say L.A., somewhere with a whole lot of, homeless people. Like, the rates or the numbers out there is ridiculous.
Right.
So I just looked at it like, you'll be surprised. Like, some of those people may just be free-spirited people. Like, probably have wealthy, family members or anything. Like, that is exactly what they want to be. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like, don't look down on somebody or judge them or treat them no different. You know what I'm saying? Because of their conditions. That may be by choice.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, I mean.
And we all got a choice. Either way.
We
all got a choice.
Either way.
Man, this has been great. I appreciate you for coming. Thank you.
I appreciate you for inviting me. I really didn't know how this was going to go. I'm going to keep
good.
on saying that.
I think this was like one of my best ones, and I appreciate that. So thank you. I mean, you want any closing words since you've been preaching to us?
No. I mean, I'm serious. I really kind of appreciate, the invite.
Yeah.
Because I say all the time, like, I kind of do want to speak to the youth. I don't really be knowing where to start. I don't know who to contact. And furthermore, I don't really know what to say. But I probably just get in there. I mean, I might say something that stick, might say something that don't. And I really feel like a lot of the time, too, like, especially with the youth, I'd probably say just really based on how probably carry myself, they'll probably, you know, kind of recognize and probably respect. You know,
Right.
like, yeah, I can tell he really come from. And I look at it too, like, this is somebody that you can really, and I ain't saying it like I'm just,
I get it.
yeah, but like I'm saying, I really come from where you come from. So more than like I can almost tell you where you going. Kind of like most of the old heads do anybody that was young at some point. Like they
Right.
literally just trying to caution you about some of the things that they know coming your way based on what you're doing.
Exactly.
Like, it's a revolving cycle. Like you ain't finna do nothing new
It's nothing new
unless
under
you
the sun.
change what you doing. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome. We're gonna see what we can do because you got to get in front of some folks.
Don't rush it now. Give me a little time. Let me.
Don't say stuff in front of me then if you don't want it. So, thank you again. I appreciate it, man. This is awesome episode. So, thank y'all. Go out and get y'all some real estate freedom because real estate freedom is for everybody.
You can't forget the book.
They want me to talk about my book.
Yeah, you got to.
Golly.
I'm gonna check it out.
This is my book. I wrote my book, Hustle Under Pressure. It is talking about my life, how I grew up in Queensboro, and the lessons that I learned from different business people and how you can learn it too. And don't panic just because you hear something called a pandemic or depression. A lot of us have been living it our whole lives. You just got to learn how to maneuver. And
now, that's what we needed that bomb for.
It's for that.
That's what we needed that bomb.
So thank y'all for making me plug my own stuff.
You're welcome.